You know why you here, man. Let's waste no time. Let's get into it. What up, though, family? We are back with another College Football 26 video, and man, oh man, we are here for the breakdown of the gameplay deep dive. And yeah, I read the whole blog, so I know exactly what's going on, man. It's gonna be a little lengthy video. I'm gonna try to get it done as quick as possible, but I gotta give you the info. So grab your popcorn, grab a drink, man, and rock out with Young, man. You already know what time it is, man. Let's go. All right, so the first thing we gotta talk about is to get them out. And what I mean by get them out, that means sub them out, man. And so we knew with the wear and tear system that they had to do something, because it was kind of hard to get people in and out by pausing, especially when you was dealing with the online play. You was only able to pause, twice, and then it was over. So you had to figure out ways to switch them in and out. So what they did was they created a whole new way to sub them in and out. And all you gotta do is hit up on the D-pad. And once you hit up on the D-pad, man, the menu will come up and you'll be able to sub out individuals that you'll be able to see people and their wear and tear and where they're at, so that if they do need to be subbed out, you can sub them out from there. And they also have filters, so it's just not like you trying to scroll through your whole offense or your whole defense, right? You can break them down to where by positions, as far as your linebacker core, your DBs or your linemen. You can do the same way with offense as far as your O linemen, your skill players. So those sub menus will make it a lot easier and a lot faster for you to get guys in and out of there, which I think is a great touch and definitely was needed, because it's so much to do pregame, but we gonna get into all that, but it's a lot of things to do pregame. So some of these things need to be quick and easy, man. And also within that same menu, if you go back and look and maybe your backups are now tired, you can go ahead and go back into that menu real quick and then go ahead and hit square if you're on PlayStation and X if you're on Xbox, and that'll go ahead and usher all your starters back in, so you can bring your starters back in. So that's just a quick way to get all your star players back in. EA also wanted to make sure that everybody deals with wear and tear different, so that they got their own type of way of doing it. So EA gave us a little sub settings, which I got my handy dandy notes, which I'm gonna go ahead and let you know. So with the auto sub settings, you're able to change some of the sliders to know how frequently you want to sub somebody out. Also, they have a default setting, which is just your standard subs. And then they also have a keep them fresh, which means you're constantly rotating people in, like how Michigan do, or we constantly rotating in subs and starters just to make sure everybody's fresh. They also have one that says it's called grind it out, which basically means keep all your starters in regardless of the fact, because this is the type of game where you want to keep them in. But either way, they gave us options so that we can go ahead and be able to do some of these within the sub settings, so you don't have to worry so much about doing all your substitutions within the pregame menu or the pre-play menu. So I think that's actually a nice touch, and it's good for us to have. And for my Dynasty players, which I know the Dynasty Deep Dive ain't came out yet, but hey, listen, I'm letting y'all know early nugget real quick. You know what I'm saying? In Dynasty mode, you can actually customize the wear and tear for the season on how you want it to go for your Dynasty. So it just isn't one way. You can go in there and tweak how you want it, how quick people recover, or how they get injured depending on how they use it. So I think that's dope within itself, because you can create your own little world instead of just being stuck with what happened. So just a little nugget for all my Dynasty folks. So now we got to get into a little quick one. It's called visualizing the damage, right? And what that means is simple as this. If your quarterback overall gets below a 60 overall, and let's say they have a leg issue, what they're going to do visually, which lets the defense know as well if they're paying attention, as before he hikes in pre-snap, he's going to be A-ing toward his leg or leaning toward his leg like, or rubbing it, which lets you know that he has a lower body issue. You know what I'm saying? So just like they do in real game, when you're trying to tough through it or fight it out or thug it out, that's what's going to be seen. So just know that you'll see that in the game. So if your QB is reaching, then trust me, the defense know as well. So do with that what you must. And now we got to talk about more than the rating, which is just toughness. Toughness before was just if you got hit somewhere, depending on your toughness was how bad the damage would be for the wear and tear. But now they kind of changed it to where it also still does that, but they also added something else to where now when you get hit, it also depends on how quick you're going to recover, depending on the toughness of the individual. So that rating does mean something. So when you're out there looking, you need to know, or for all my Dynasty fellows, you know what I'm saying? When you're in the Dynasty mode, you don't see high toughness, that might not be a guy you want to put out there, because that means, their wear and tear ain't going to be too great. But if they can thug it out, that toughness will be high. So to just let you know, it also deals with the simple fact of if you get hit, how quick you're going to recover compared to just being out for a certain amount of time. Now they got this new tier called the Heisman tier, and we already know they added 10 new archetypes for player skills. But this Heisman tier is something different. They got one called out of body experience. So basically, if your player is in a platinum mode and they getting off in the game and they doing real well, then boom, next thing you know, it'll boost up. And if it boosts up, it boosts up to the Heisman tier, which basically makes them a game-changing player out there. And we've seen that on Saturdays time and time again, where one person takes over a whole game. So that basically, with that Heisman tier, that's what they're able to do. Now, it doesn't say if they start off with it or not, but you can definitely climb to it. So more or less, you'll probably be your platinum players, and if they are doing real well within that game, they'll go ahead and boost into that Heisman tier to make game-changing plays. But I think that's a dope touch, because when somebody's having a good game, clearly enough, they need to show that boost that they're taking the game over. Now, they did give us a little insight to some of the new offensive and defensive abilities. Not too many, but just two that they really wanted to put out here. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know what they are. And it's called battering ram, and that's the offensive player. And this is where this sort of halfback loves to see contact. And we know people like that. So they love initiating the hit with a defender. Craziest part, though, is that with this one, if they run the defender over or they're actually punishing the defender, it'll hurt the defender's wear and tear compared to hurting theirs. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then the hammer is obviously your hard hitting linebackers and your safeties that's laying that boom out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with them having that type of ability, it increases the chances for certain, turnovers and stuff like that to happen to stripping the ball. But it really depends on you and how you hit it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen all the time or every time, but it does, depending on how the game's going and the wear and tear of the other individual, that it could actually happen within game. So neither here nor there, just letting you know, man, that's the two things they want to definitively say that they added, so that gives you a look and understanding of what type of game we're going to be having. Now listen, there's a cost to being great, right? And they call it the cost of greatness. So what that means is this: your wear and tear, which I think is a dope. Your wear and tear ties into your ability. So if you have a platinum ability, like say you have platinum 50-50 ball, right? If you have that platinum ability and you're doing real well, but now we keep pounding and hitting you, pause, but you have, like, your lower extremities are kind of in the red and your upper body's in the orange. Well, now because of that wear and tear, and that's on your body, that gold now ability, that platinum ability now can possibly drop down to a gold or to a silver. It says that it can drop down to up to 2 abilities depending on how the game's going. So it's going to be key that you manage all your players in that wear and tear if you want to keep them at their peak point of performance. All right, now we got to talk quarterback play, and with that, it's going to be precision, vision, and strategy. And I got to read this little thing, and I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see what they said, because it's hilarious. It says, in our quest to make pocket passers as valuable as they are in real life, we introduce real-world challenges to level the playing field. This is where the field vision comes into play. No, there's no vision cones on the field. That was definitely a shot at Madden, for sure, because that was stupid when they did that some years back. But that was a shot. But basically, your shorter quarterbacks, man, they gonna go through it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But it makes good sense, because your shorter quarterbacks, like in real life, when you're dealing with them linemen and those defensive line guys, they can't see over them. So basically what it is they have to wait till they can see their line of sight and see the open guy. So as you can see in the video, it shows that the icon will be kind of faded out. And then when it's clear, obviously that means that the quarterback can see him. But when it's faded out, that means they can't see him. So you run the risk of overthrowing or possibly throwing into the back of the head of one of your linemen or being batted down from the defensive lineman. So you got to be careful about that, because that's definitely, it makes sense because it happens all the time. They also said they seen a lot of people using lower rated quarterbacks in 25 and Michigan, we had a lower rated quarterback. But basically with them using it, it was a slight difference, but it wasn't a significant difference between the great quarterbacks or the good quarterbacks that were out there. So now they've sort of did something to where there's going to be a huge gap, and there's going to be a definitively, you can see the difference between a 75 overall and a 95 overall quarterback. It's going to be clear as day that you can see the difference. Now, do I like this? I get it. I don't necessarily know if I like it or not. I got to see it first and foremost. But I do understand why you want to do it, because some quarterbacks were making plays that they probably wouldn't make in real life. And so that's where they want to kind of keep it as close to real life as possible. So I understand that. But in the same token, you got to realize this. if you want everybody to be able to use their teams, if I can't complete a pass with a quarterback, then that's really going to hurt my chance of doing anything. And they also saying that they're working on the fact of most of these quarterbacks won't be as accurate as they used to be. So that alone is going to be an issue within itself, because we know accuracy is key, and we know that's one thing that college football didn't have a lot of, depending on who you were using. And so they're still trying to fine tune that, because they don't want it to seem like every pass you're going to make. They said they don't want them to be too accurate. Like, it's going to be a little adjustment that the wide receiver may have to make depending on the quarterback, which is cool. I understand, because it does happen in real life. But with that being said, I'm still going to be in trouble, because I'm probably going to have a starting freshman quarterback, and y'all already know who I'm rocking with. You see it in the background and on my chest. So I'm probably going to go through it. But either way, man, I'm still here for it. Now we got to talk about this little thing where they called it Recognize the Heat, which is basically the double mug and pinch buck O issue, right? So if you played a little bit online, then you know for a fact that's about the only defense you've seen, either one of those two. So what they did was, to combat that, was they made it to where now, if a person does run that type of blitz, your icons, depending on your quarterback and their rating, it'll pop up. As soon as he hikes the ball, it'll pop up immediately with who's available, and it'll be like, it'll definitively see that this person's open. So to throw to this person, like the icon, maybe it'll flash, it'll be bigger. They didn't specifically say what it would do. They just said it would be blatantly obvious that you need to throw the ball to this person if someone's basically using a nano blitz. So I'm guessing that's AI picking up that you're constantly doing nano blitz, and that's the way that they're going to beat it, which is a good touch, because, man, you just get sick of seeing the same sort of style defense every single play. And believe it or not, with all these changes they made to defense, which we're going to get into, come on, bro, you can definitely do something different. And speaking of defense, because we know the saying, defense wins championships. And since I brought that up, that moves right into the next point. What they did on defense, they heard a lot of issues that we had, man. And I do mean a lot, because we definitely talked about some of the defensive issues, right? But since we talked about it, now with the tackle ratings, they actually matter a lot more, because before, you could say, oh, he has an 80, 85 overall tackle rating or a 90 tackle rating compared to a dude that had a 55, but it really didn't matter. We would both spam the same tackle button and get him down. Well, that's not going to be the case anymore. So with a tackle rating, depending on the tackle and what type of tackle it is, that individual is going to, for one, bring that person down, and may bring them down violently because of their tackle rating. And then number two, if a person has a lower tackle rating, they may get drugged or just not get the tackle at all. So the days of just putting willy-nilly anybody out there is going to hurt you, depending on what their attributes are, in all honesty, because if they can't perform out there, then it's just going to hurt you when they get one-on-one with a guy, or they have to try to bring somebody down and they can't. So keep that in mind when you out here subbing your defense. And with this new one-on-one tackle type, you definitely have more control than you usually have. So with that being said, with a one-on-one, you can literally make something or create something to happen, i.e. strip ball, force fumble, hit stick. One of those things can happen where you can do that on your own. It just depends. You can knock it out. All types of things can happen. It's on this one-on-one mechanic that they put in there as far as on defense. Now, does it have a counter? Of course it does. You got to cover the ball up, and you should be good to go, depending on, again, wear and tear and the situation of the game and how you're running the ball. There is no conservative tackling, so we know that's getting taken out, so you got to protect the ball. With that also being said, though, it also works for the offense as well. So if I'm running full speed and I hit a perfect stiff arm, boom, I go ahead and get him out the way, I'm going to keep it going, like, you know what I'm saying? Or if I truck him, I'm going to keep it moving, as long as it's a perfect timed one. And with the quarterback, finally, with the quarterback, they fixed this issue to where when you're getting tackled, you can just get tackled and throw out of a sack and not penalize you. That's gone. That's not going to happen no more. So when you get the sack, person's going to go down. He's not going to be able to throw out of it, which was definitely needed, because whether I got away with it a few times, but I definitely did it to people too. So in the same token, it was a game changer if it was actually done the right way. So that's a good touch. They also took away these unrealistic cuts that people be doing when they was catching the ball and they just disappear on. Yeah, all that's gone now. It's gonna just be more realistic and more physics based. Now, how realistic will it be? Well, we're gonna have to find out when we play. But still, it's definitely needed. So now we get into the good part. Let's talk about these stunts and twists that they added to the game. Ooh wee! I like that. But either way, so this is how it pretty much goes. You can actually do the stunts and twist change while in the pre-snap menu when you're on the field, which again, you're going to have so many options. I don't know if that's going to be one of them, but you can do that in the pre-game option, right? In the pre-snap option. You can also do it as you picking your play, which I think is a lot better because it helps you out because you know the down the distance and what you need to do. Now, with that being said, what you do is when you're getting ready to pick a play, you're going to hold that icon. And when you hold that icon, another sub menu is going to pop up. When that sub menu pops up, you're going to be able to break down what type of stun or twist or however you want to do it. Depending on the formation that you're using, it'll be toward that formation on what you can do. So I think that's dope. I'm just going to be honest. And with the trench work, this is much needed because within that, now they got block steering and stuff like that. And you can also steer somebody on the block, but you can also steer somebody on the D end to push them back into the quarterback too, to get them where you need to be. So they really took a deep dive into the trenches, man. And it was definitely needed because when you play in these games, when you play Madden, or even when you play college, nobody really paid attention to the linemen because they never really did their job. So it was just, hopefully they'll pick up this blitz. Let's blitz these men, block the running back, block the tight end, and shift them all to the left or shift to the right, and hopefully we pick it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with them doing this overhaul to the line, it's beautiful, man. It's definitely needed, and I'm so excited to see what happens. They also did an overhaul with the improvement of the targeting system, and what that means is now you can tell your blockers, they understand, the AI understands who it's supposed to block, who it's supposed to block depending on the scheme that you're running. So if you're running like a power, counter, trap, wham, duo, all veer variant, or a midline concept, the actual linemen know where they should be and who, if somebody comes within that range, who they should pick up and why they should pick them up. So we're not sitting here like we before, dude's wide open, all you gotta do is hit this one block and I'm going to the house, and for some reason your tight end or your fullback runs right with you and goes this way, and that dude gets a free shot at you. So thank goodness they fixed that to where that's gonna be done, because that was getting on my last nerve. You know, I like running. I'm a Michigan man. So you know, I didn't had a lot of runs stopped due to the fact of poor blocking. Now with pass protection, the O-line, now I take it for a grain of salt, but we already know, but it's stating that the O-line is going to make better decisions depending on the immediate threat of who's around. So if this D tackle is more of a threat than the DN, I guess they're going to pick him up, because if he's being double teamed, they know that there's no reason for me to stand here. Let me go over here where the center, I guess, needs help. Either way, if they did this and they did it correctly, man, this is going to be beautiful, because that means we can have a good pocket to at least get the ball where it needs to be. Because if you know like I know, man, it ain't been that way. And even if somebody's running like a delayed blitz, still if that lineman has nobody there and then this person just starts to rush in, I feel like that lineman should know what they do, like in real life. Hey, let me go pick dog up and put him on his back real quick so we can be straight. So hopefully that definitely happens in the game. Also, what is dope is the fact that they set it up to where, like, boom, let's say I went on ahead and I shifted all my linemen to block to the right? And then I'm like, oh, no, I just seen him collapse down and bring these guys down. Now I can just flip it. And when I flip the blocking, I don't have to sit here and go set everything up again. All I do is just flip it, and everything they were supposed to do to the right, they are now going to do to the left, which I think is so dope. So now when we used to flip our plays, it will flip the actual assignments too, so you don't have nothing to worry about when it comes to that. That is a touch, because man, we needed that for sure. I got tired of having to set everything back up and then getting a false start call. I know I ain't the only one. Now we got to talk DBs, man, because this is the topic here, because it's either good or it could be bad, depending on how you look at it. But either way, let's talk DBs. First things first, let's talk this thing called route commit. Woo-wee. So what is route commit? So basically, we know, like, when you used to shade, whether you were playing man, however you were doing, like when you shaded in or shaded outside, it didn't always work to perfection like we wanted it to. Or if you shaded out, you shaded inside, but they would run a zig route and go to the outside, you would just be burnt, like, you know what I'm saying, or however that went. It just never worked the way that you needed it to work. But with this one, with route commit, man, come on, dog. With this, now you can literally have that individual person, that individual DB, or you can have your whole defensive back. I don't know why you would do that, but you can have your individuals do it, where they can, like, if somebody's doing a comeback route, you can have that DB play underneath to that comeback route. So they'll play to that side to get that comeback route and sell out for that actual route that they've been spamming you the whole time with, which he can cover up or whatever the route is, you can still have that corner commit to that to stop it. I think that is so dope. Now, it is high risk, high reward, because if you're wrong, separation is going to be made. Like, you're going to get cooked, you're going to get burnt. But if you are correct, then you could possibly get a turnover or a turnover on downs or whatever it is, depending on the critical point of the game. I still think that's dope, because we do see that in real time where some people, hey, I know I shouldn't be here, but I'm gonna play right here because they've been doing this the whole time to try to get a pick, you know what I'm saying, and change the momentum of the game. So I think that's dope. 100% hands down. You can't tell me nothing about that. I think that's dope. Also, I know we don't like to hear this, but I gotta tell you, man-to-man has been tweaked. It is definitely an option. I'm gonna leave it at that. Just know you may see a lot, and I do mean a lot, of man-to-man, for the simple fact, especially somebody got good corners, because what they're saying is that if you got good corners and you're able to play and pick and make the necessary adjustments, you can really shut some folks down. So just be prepared for man-to-man, because once people figure it out, and I'm not doing no videos trying to make people's life harder. I'm gonna let people figure it out for themselves. But still, when people figure it out, they're probably gonna run it a lot, or to incorporate it, or do like we usually do, like a blend of man with zone. But either way, just know that you may see a lot of man-to-man depending on what team you're going against. They also made an emphasis on leverage. So what that means is basically this: depending on where you line your DBs up at, they're not going to get burnt like they used to, and they're going to play very well. Like before in the game, depending on where you was at, separation was easy to get, especially if they had takeoff, and they would definitely leave you. So what they did now was they made it to where the DB can impact that depending on where you put them at leverage on the field wise, to where they can actually cover and disrupt some of these routes, which is a good thing, man, because it's definitely needed. But again, all these things are pre-game adjustments. It's so much to do pre-game, boy. I'm telling you, this is a chess match. So I'm telling all my people, all my followers, man, the best thing you can do, don't hop online immediately, man. Go right to the practice field and go through all these adjustments to see what you like, see what you can do, and what works for you when you play it. Play the computer a few times and figure it out, dog. If you go online, you're probably gonna get cooked, man. I'm just being honest. If you don't understand what you can do and the leveraging and shifting and stuff like that, this is gonna be key, man. This is really gonna be real chest out here compared to just booting up and playing. And one more thing they did with the DBs, even though you hear me saying all this good stuff about leveraging and route commits, stuff like that, they also got this thing called no eyes, no pick. We pretty much know what that means. Basically, if you got your back turned, no longer will you climb the back of the wide receiver and get an interception. If your back's turned and the receiver has a step, not 3 steps, not 8 steps, a step on you, and that pass is thrown correctly, it will drop right where it needs to be, to where now your corner may just need to fight to swat or try to disrupt the catch by smacking the hands or something like that. But what they definitively wanted to make sure was good was the fact that when a wide receiver beats a DB and has a step on him, it doesn't have to be a clear separation. It could just be that he's ahead, like in real life. And as long as that ball's put in the proper place that it needs to be put in, the wide receiver can complete the catch, or at least get a high risk, high reward type catch to be down there. Because sometimes if you got one-on-one coverage, that's what all quarterbacks look for in real football. If I got one-on-one on the outside, I'm definitely going to throw it up, because I'm always going to go with my receiver over a DB. That's any type of football you see. So with that being said, is why they put that in there, because it does make sense. Now, we also got defensive playbook updates. Now, they've added a ton, and I do mean a ton. I was not going to name all of those. Like, they've added a lot of things to the defensive playbooks. I would advise you to go to the blog and check them out yourself. But I do want to highlight this one thing, because this one thing is very important. They actually added a bracket concept to some of your passing formations, which is dope. If you don't know what a bracket concept is, it's basically playing high-low over a wide receiver. So you're going to have somebody underneath him and over top of him to try to minimize the touches of their star wide receiver. We see this happen a lot in college. We see it in the NFL as well, too. I think this is dope. And if you don't know what bracket it is, or you don't understand it, by all means, use this great thing called YouTube to go ahead and see what it is in real football terms and what it does. And then you can implement it on the game. Just don't go out there and think you know what you're doing. Understand the concept, because what it seems like now is they're doing a lot of things where you better understand the concept of football. This is getting deeper than just booting up the game and playing. Now, we're still going to have our little nano blitzes probably. It's going to be something new. But for the most part, I like the way and I like the path that we're on, where it's really about if you have football knowledge or not. Now, I don't know if this happened to you. It definitely happened to me. But now they're going to deal with run fits. And what do I mean by that is where now everybody's going to play their run fit. Now, if you've played for a while or enough games, you've seen where your guy had a clear shot or he was supposed to be in this hole, and for some god-awful reason, he ended up off far to the left or far to the right. And you're like, bro, never told you to go over there. Well, now they kind of fixed that to where now the AI knows where they need to be, and they're always going to play their run fits. Also, and I do mean also, they have it to where you're going to have built-in rules for the AI that will help them deal with the RPO. So the AI won't dumb out when they see the RPO. If they know they're supposed to be over there to go stop that, then that's where they're going to be. And I think that is a beautiful thing, because your AI could be literally sitting out there guarding grass when the dude's sitting over there standing there, and they would just stare at him. And when he caught it, y'all know what he did. Bad pursuit angle, trail behind, and try to catch him, which was already a first down, or if worse, a touchdown. So thank God they fixed that. Now we got to talk about the safeties, dog. And it's called Coach 'em Up. Listen, man, they did some dope things. So with the safeties, you know that you can change the depth that they're in, the width, and the midpoint shift. And what do I mean by changing the depth? So you can have them close, which brings safeties within the box, dropping them down. You can also have them at default, which is just their standard balance. You can also put them deep, which they're going to align significantly deeper than they normally do, just looking for deep to defend against speedy receivers. So you already know that. So they want to just be back a little further. And then they got prevent. Prevent, they're going to sit way back, obviously for the Hail Mary within the end of the game or halftime. So that's what that's for. Then they got the width, right? The width is basically the standard alignment, is the default one. Then they got spread, where safeties are going to be wider than usual to try to take away that sideline threat. And then they got wide. Now, wide and spread sound similar, but are very different. Wide, again, is to take away the side. Spread is to take away the sideline effect. Wide is more exaggerated toward the outside leverage to take away the deep outs or the verticals. All right, so understand that. Wide is for the deep out and verticals. Spread is for the sideline threat. And then you got pinch, which brings the safety tighter together for the middle. So you could easily disguise pinch and be in a pinch look, but really running a I would say run cover 2 to where it looks like that's where they're going to be at, and then they just spread out. Or you can have them in the pinch set and have one off to the side in the deep half. You can have one cover in the middle, and then just have that far corner covering the outside third. So it's a lot of things you can create in your own little way with these looks, man. I think that's actually dope. And so then with midpoint shifting, if you go left to right, that means you're adjusting them to be on the baseline on the field, right? Which means they're going to be further over. Now, if you go strong as weak, that shift coverages according to the offensive strength. So what that means is whatever side the tight end is on is the side that the coverage is going to sort of shift to. So if the tight end's to the wide side, then your corners, or your safeties, are going to shift over toward the wide side to give that help to go ahead and cover that tight end. Then you have field and boundary. Now what that is they're basically going to adjust to the relative wide and narrow sides of the field. So if it's small over here, then we're probably going to crash over, because we don't need a safety sitting over top if it's the small side of the field. You can usually just have that corner play back. And if I have that corner play back and then I can scoot that safety over, then I'm good to go. You see what I'm saying? So these are all good adjustments. And this is, again, real football in time for you to make these type of adjustments on your own. So, hey, man, we out here about to be real coaches, man. I love it. And I forgot to mention, these aren't single things that you can do. You can combine all three of these. So you could do a wide, and then you can also have somebody playing the near side, and then you can also have somebody playing, what's the last one? You can have somebody playing left to right. So you can literally do all these three at once, which I think is pretty dope, man. You're gonna get some crazy looks to where you're gonna actually have to read the field. It's just not gonna be, oh, that's a cover 3, I know what to do, or that's a cover 4, I know what to do. You're gonna get some crazy looks, and by having crazy looks, it's gonna cause a little bit of confusion. So I definitely like that. That's in the defense's favor. Now, the new RPO, there's a new RPO coaching adjustment as well, to where now you can go in there and change the adjustments to say, hey, I want you to play for this or watch out for that. And just like we do with our other coach adjustments, that'll be in there as well to go ahead and play that, which listen, when I tell you that's needed, that was definitely needed. Granted, the AI is better with the RPO, but if I can definitively tell you to get over there and be there, and I'll deal with the run in the inside, Trust me, I'm definitely take away the pass. I'll deal with the run on my own. I think everybody will attest to say they'll do that, because when you get to that outside on that pass, it's problems out there. We all know that. You also can show blitz. Now, I know you're like, come on, we do that already. Nah. You didn't know this, though. Usually when we say show blitz, everybody comes crashing down. Then you make a quick adjustment to try to bring your corners back because you didn't want them to play up, right? Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. When you do show blitz, now you can just show blitz and collapse your linebackers to come down. So everybody else stays where they need to be, but your linebackers are pressuring the line now, which I think is dope, because guess what? That gives you a different look and everybody's not so close to get burnt. Or, case in point, I can show you a look, not blitz, but you've already went to your hot route, and maybe I have a flat down there. Maybe I stem one of my zones in a custom stem and put them down there, and that might be a turnover on downs. Either way, it's about causing confusion. If you're a defensive guy, we already know it's about causing confusion. That is crazy that you can do that and not adjust everybody, but just have those linebackers coming down. I think that's dope, man. EA is cooking right now. Well, let's just say college. College is cooking. I'm not a Madden guy like I used to be, but college is cooking, and I love it. They also dealt with the pursuit angles. Well, to a certain degree. So if you got a good pursuit rating, then yeah, you're gonna do what you need to do. If you don't have a good pursuit rating, then you're gonna see what we were seeing before. That's just 100. That's what they said. We just got to deal with it. It's not cool, but it is what it is. Now, also, you're gonna see a lot more defensive linemen, depending on the pressure and where they've moved these actual linemen to. They're gonna be batting the ball down a lot more. So just be wary of that, knowing that that's going to happen. It's a part of football. If you don't want it to get batted down, you may need to move around that pocket, maneuver a little bit to get a clear sight or a clear view of sight so you can pass the ball. But just know that that's going to happen. Also, you need to know that the double move is back. So when you do a double move, and depending on how or whatever covers they set up, they may fall for it, they may not. Again, it depends on the adjustment of the defense. All these things is literally an adjustment. So this is all chess we're playing. So if I've said play back and do this, and you do a double move, but my guys are already back, they're not going to fall for it. But if I say play back and you do like a drag, then clearly that drag is going to be wide open for me to catch it and get yards or go up the field. It really just depends, man, on how we're adjusting and how we're coaching and setting this up. I'm telling you, man, chess matches are about to happen. This game is elevating. And last but not least, man, we got home field advantage. And we already pretty much know that, but they have dialed it up a notch. You know what I'm saying? So what that means is, granted, you're going to have the distortion. Your play clock is going to fade in and out. The play art for the plays are going to be different or squiggly. We've seen all that. Question marks above wide receiver's head, depending on your quarterback's attributes and what they got. Then you're also going to see depending on where your receiver is, as far as how far out they are from the quarterback, it'll be issues trying to do certain audibles and play calls as well, which is cool. We pretty much used to that. Now, you also, if you get big plays and you're the visiting team, you can also quiet down the home field advantage, and so that you can actually start to call plays and this, that, and the third. So the key is, if you can keep moving the ball consistently, do what you got to do, you can shut that up. But it's going to be hard to do depending on where you're at. But either way, man, that's a way to somewhat counter what you're going to go through. Now, kicking then got extremely hard. They talking about the little football going to be clear. It's not going to be like it's definitively like you can see it. Then it's going to be transparent, where it's going to fade away. Then you also got where it's not going to be a color. It's just going to be clear white. So you don't know where you're at as it fades out. It's a lot of things to make kicking a lot more difficult. So if I was you, like I'm going to do, go into the practice mode and just practice kicking, man. Because it's going to be crazy work. I already see what they're doing. It's going to be tough, as it should be when you're in a hostile environment or in a rival game. So just know, all this happens, especially some of your night games and rivalry games. They definitively picked those two out and said, hey, when you see these two, it's gonna be a lot of pressure depending on where you at. So just know that you're gonna be dealing with some things when it comes to home field advantage. And now, granted, home field advantage is probably gonna be for your dynasty guys, because I haven't yet to see them have home field advantage when it comes to playing online. So for my dynasty users, which I am, because I got a dope league I'm playing in, I'll let y'all know that later on. But in my dynasty users, man, we're gonna have it a little hard when it comes to kicking the ball, man. So let me know, man, what do you think? What do I think? Man, I think it's great. Now, I gotta play it, just to be honest, I gotta play it to make sure my feelings are correct. But from everything that they said so far, I pretty much like everything that they're doing because it's pushing the envelope. Like, we got all these updated systems for a reason, man. Let's push it to the limit to see what we can create, because I'm sick of the same cliche games. And so I love the fact that college football is continuously pushing the line, trying to get better. So we have a great developing team, man, and they constantly working to make this game better than what it is. And I'm a college fan, so I love it to death. Now, there are going to be some hiccups. It's not going to be perfect. We already know that, and we take those as they come. But either way, after this deep dive and what we got, man, I am excited. July 7th can't come quick enough. I promise you it can't, because I promise you at 12 a.m. I am on the sticks 100%. Just like the name, I'm going to be on the sticks, man. You probably will too. But all in all, if you like the video, man, you already know what I'm going to ask you to do, man. Come on, man. All you got to do is smash the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you have not, as it is only a thumb movement and it helps me out tremendously. And there is no me without you. I'm on the road to 1,000, man. Also, if you didn't know, I will start back live streaming on Twitch and on YouTube at my normal time. I'm just waiting for some things to clear up so I can get to it. But either way, man, I will be there. And like I always say, if ain't no one told you that they love you today, just know that Jesus loves you, man. Peace and love, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.